Hey.
Coach, how do you guys adjust without Ifo?
You know, the game plan stays the same. And we got to continue to rotate guys in like we've been doing. And you know, we lost a great leader, a great player, a great spiritual leader as well. You know, and everyone's got to just, you know, kind of like it was a hit, and now everyone's got to pick it up a little more. And we got to go represent. And someone's got to pick up the slack.
How tough is it emotionally to do that as a team with a guy like him?
You know, anytime someone gets injured, it's hard. I mean, it is hard. I mean, it's like your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad or one of your very close relatives got hurt, and so that it's hard, you know. And so you've got to deal with that, look at it. You got to deal with it. You got to kind of, you know, internalize it, and then the next day you got to go back out and you got to go fight for them. You know, you got to put them on your back. You got to carry them. You got to fight for them. That's what we have to do. We got to go fight for Ifo and for all the guys who got hurt this year.
Does it help?
All the guys who've been hurt earlier kind of say they turn into the coach on the field, or they try to guide the younger guys. Is that a role you see Ifo doing now, or what do you think he'll do these next 2 weeks to get the guys prepared in his absence?
You know, I don't know, because I don't know his injury. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns there. I know that with all our players, you know, in our culture here, the way Coach Helfrich has our culture operating, if you're injured, that's what you do. You jump out there and you give back and you coach and you help young guys.
Was he able to be out there today, or is he still banged up?
You know what? I don't even. I was running the front. I don't know.
Is Cisse ready for this type of challenge?
I think our whole team has to be ready for this challenge. I don't think there's any questions. We have to go play. We have to go play. We have one game, right? We have to go play. That's the bottom line.
What have you seen? What have you on film? What have you seen about Florida State and their offense?
You know, I think their offense is totally different than the offenses we've been facing. It's a pro-style offense. You know, I think there's not a lot of chinks in their armor. They've got a big, fast offensive line. They've got a receiver with 100 catches, another receiver on the tight end with 50 catches, two other receivers that probably could start at some other place, and I think their running backs are really, really, really good with the Heisman Trophy candidates. So there's no chinks in the armor. They're really good. It'll be an exciting opportunity for us to go out there and see what we can put together and go play.
And you guys, you've coached against Heisman Trophy winners with Newton and the USC guys. And what are those kind of guys? What challenges do they present? That level of player like Jameis Winston.
You know, I think to me when I watch Jameis Winston, he's a tremendous quarterback because he can put the ball in very tiny windows. He can put the ball right between. I mean, he can stick it right there. He's got a cannon. He has an eye for it. I think what he does for their team is he's a spiritual leader. You know, he's a big guy. He gets hit. He gets knocked down. He's still delivering the ball on the money, and those guys rally around him. You know, I think that's probably the same of Cam Newton when we played him. I mean, those guys have special leadership. It's the same with Marcus. Our guys rally around him, and that's what the Heisman Trophy winner, our Heisman Trophy caliber player brings. He brings a leadership that's different than what a lot of other leaders on the team bring.
Because he can make those throws and put them through small windows like that, does he force it sometimes just because he has that confidence? Just his picks are up about, I think, 15 from where they were a year ago.
You know, I haven't studied the last year's film at all. I know that he has a lot of confidence, and if he believes he can make a throw, he's going to try to make the throw. And that's what I see on film.
Does it help moving forward that your offense and defense have played all year without key people? So is it just one more opportunity to show that you can do that?
You know, in our culture, that's what we preach, and that's what we believe in. One of the things we do is we rotate a lot of players, and the rotation of a lot of players allow us to put the next guy in, but it's not a guy that's been sitting on the bench waiting. It's a guy that's been getting some live reps, you know, under fire. And so I think that definitely helps us that we've been rotating guys.
Not having Ifo doesn't make it all the more important to get pressure on the quarterback in this game?
You know, I think from a game plan standpoint, we're going to have to pressure. We're going to have to play a lot of coverage. We're going to have to mix up a lot of things because I think that Winston's really good, and if you give him a steady diet, if he can find the easy windows, he's going to be really tough to contain.
When the O-line kind of went through its raft of injuries, they would play guys at positions that maybe we hadn't thought about they'd be eligible for. Do you foresee maybe some safeties getting some action at where a corner might usually go, or just kind of not just going with your next best corner, but your next best defender to kind of fill a role?
You know, we've had some different packages throughout the year. You know, at times Ifo, Dargan have played all over the place. You know, I think Reggie's played 2 or 3 spots. So, you know, we're going to put the best combination together. But, you know, to be successful in this game, it's going to take a lot of guys. It's going to take a lot of guys. So you're going to see a lot of different guys rotating.
But there's a quick enough turnaround between if you were to win this game, that you'd obviously have to go on the road and play pretty quickly. How do you? Mark said in New York that there's a little bit of a scouting ahead too. How do you go about scouting a potentially next game while you're obviously need to win the first one? How do you allocate those resources?
I haven't. I haven't. Right now, it's one game for me. I mean, for us, one game for us. You know, I think what Coach is referring to is there's a lot of the work, the scouting reports, the breakdowns. A lot of that stuff can be done ahead of time. You know, we're not going to do it, but we have a staff that can get that done. So a lot of those reports and things will be ready. But actually, you know, me taking time to watch those other opponents, there's not enough time. You know, we have one game. We have to play our best.
That starts the Arizona game. Have you sensed more confidence, swagger with you? More a couple of your players said that you guys have now defensively?
I have not. You know, what I witnessed was from that. You know, we got Stanford and then I think Utah. I've been feeling the sense that it's been growing with every game. You know, we came back to Colorado, we played better. Oregon State played better. So I think whatever that thing is, it's been growing. And I think it's. I haven't seen a difference, but I've seen it, and that's what we've been trying to work toward getting that. I think Ifo said an identity, or someone gave it a name, but we've been working toward that level of confidence.
They also said that you have a lot of swagger, and that carries over to the team. That you just carry yourself with a way of believing like we're really good despite many little things. Is that something you've been conscious of? Do you think you have swagger?
I think I try to carry myself in you know, I try to lead those guys in the direction I think we should be leading, and I think my leadership style is just that. Now, what those kids interpret it as, I don't know. If they're excited, I think that's great.
They said to you that they think you guys are practicing harder this year than you were a year ago. Do you agree with that?
We've definitely been practicing hard. We've been practicing, you know, the last half of the season. We've practiced hard. I mean, hard and smart, but I mean really hard. It's made a difference. There's no question. The way we practice has made a difference in our performance on the field.
After that dominating win over Arizona, were you surprised at all? Were you impressed at all, or is that what you expected?
Well, the thing we did is what we've been talking about all year. We played our gap control. We got our blocks. We didn't miss a lot of tackles, and we communicated well. You know, the couple times we didn't communicate, they scored, and so it's kind of indicative of all the things we've been talking about. When we played a game where we didn't have the bus, where we did communicate, and all of a sudden we looked up and go, you know what, we have a chance to be pretty good defense if we can continue to do those key things, those fundamentals, really, those fundamentals.
What do you see from the offensive line, especially with Jackson?
From Florida State?
Yes.
Really big, really fast, and they play with a real edge. Their offensive line is a really good offensive line. They're big, they're strong. They run a lot of zone schemes, and they lock on the people, and they move them. They create running room for the running backs. But they're really good. They're really good.
Don, what was Coach Helfrich like immediately after the Arizona loss?
I don't even remember. I don't even remember. That Arizona loss, it seems almost like last year. So I really don't.
Well, how would you assess how he's handled adversity this year?
Coach Helfrich? Yeah. Coach Helfrich's been fabulous. The thing about Coach Helfrich, he's pretty much the same every day. Good practice, bad practice, something good happens, something bad happens. A player not doing what he's supposed to, a player's doing great. He's been real steady since he's taken over. And you know, after that game, he was very congratulatory, but he was back to his normal self pretty quick. And that's him. That's kind of his trademark. There's not a lot of peaks, not a lot of valleys. He's right there just freaking every day, just plugging along. And I think that's, you know, our kids are a reflection of that. I think our kids have been resilient because our head coach is very resilient.
How would you describe DeForest's play this year?
I think DeForest has improved every single game. I think he's closer. There's still a lot of room for DeForest to develop, but he's closer to being the type of player that we envisioned than he was early in the season. But the best thing about DeForest, he's gotten better every single week, and he's practiced. If you were to see our practice, you'd be amazed and shocked at how hard he practices. I mean, he freaking practices. He's 20 yards down the field tackling. It's pretty impressive.
Has it always been like that with him since he's been here?
He's always had the edge, but he hasn't had the focus. It hasn't been, it's been effort, but it hasn't been effort with focus. Now his effort is focus. I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to do all the time. He's not just rushing the passer. Now it's, if I've got the A gap, I'm rushing through the A gap. That's the difference. His discipline is better, but his attitude and effort is fabulous.
We can see his size. What are some of his other attributes?
He's smart. DeForest is smart. I mean, he understands what's going on. A lot of checks that the linebackers used to have to make, you know, we still make them, but DeForest and those guys, they know him already. And he's recognizing what the offense is trying to do, and that's one of the reasons he's making more tackles. He's recognizing blocking patterns of what's going to happen and anticipating it with a real high degree of efficiency.
And what's made Troy such a better, more consistent, I guess, cornerback this year? Last year it seemed like he would get called for penalties or he'd get beat and he would kind of hang his head. Is it a consistency with him that you're seeing that's made him develop into a really trustworthy guy on the edge?
Yeah, I think Troy Hill has just made a decision. I think Troy made a decision over the summer, maybe last spring, that he was gonna be a really, really good player. And so he's continued to work on the weak parts of his game, which is some of the things you just mentioned. And he's worked hard at it. And he works hard at practice. And some of the mistakes he's made a year ago, he's not making now. He's finishing a lot better.
What's come the farthest for him?
Troy?
Yeah.
Gosh, I would say Troy's probably his leadership. I mean, Troy was a guy that didn't say a whole lot. Now Troy is out there, he's active, he's talking, he's all in, and he's a kind of a key component now.
What about kind of on field? What's come the farthest for him? Is it, tackling, coverage? I don't know.
I just think he's better overall. I think he's playing better man coverage. I think he's doing a nice job of challenging receivers on verticals, and he's doing a good job of tackling.
Don, what have you learned about yourself this year, and what would you, looking back, what would you have maybe changed differently?
Tough question. I would have changed the amount of hours in a day because I need about 2 or 3 more, to be honest with you. You know, I haven't sat back and evaluated myself. I don't.
Better time than the present.
No, the time to do it is when the season's over and you can go back and look at every practice plan and go, what am I going to do next year? What am I going to do next year? What should we have done? Then you take that forward and go, here's where I need to get better. And it'll reveal itself. I mean, right now, I think we as staff have done a good job of identifying problems and coming up with solutions for them, or developing drills and opportunities to improve whatever this defense needs. And that's kind of what I think we've done a real good job of. You know, I think everything else we'll have to evaluate when it's all over. Thank you, folks.